Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have this 2016 Porsche Panamera 4, and then is it still worth it in 2025? I already reviewed the Porsche Taycan as well, so if you didn't, please go check that out. And then starting with the overall layout is still kind of the same as the new Panamera. However, we do get these older headlight design going on and this older front end. To be honest, it still looks quite decent in 2025. And it still has that sportier front end. We do have these 20-inch rims. You do have real air vents going on the side over here. And then in the back, we do have this old design with these tail lights. We do have dual exhaust though, which it actually sounds quite decent for a V6. So powering this Porsche is the 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6, making 310 horsepower and 291 pound-feet of torque compared to a 7-speed PDK transmission. And we do have a top speed of 183 miles, but this being the base Panamera, we really don't get that much performance out of this. So yes, this is not quite a decent engine, and I really do like the way they have the air cleaners and then the intake over the engine going on. But we do have a V8 version as well in the turbo and the turbo GTS. So overall, this is quite a decent amount of engine. And then we also get really good gas mileage as well, up to 29 on the highway. So yes, if you're buying this vehicle for the looks and you just want decent performance, this is a really good option. You have keyless entry. So starting with the interior of the 2016 Porsche Panamera, it's actually decent. It's not the best, and it's a little bit overcomplicated as well. This vehicle, we do have a smart key fob and keyless entry and all that stuff, but we don't have a push button start. Instead, we have this knob right over here, which we have to turn by pressing the brakes. And then the vehicle starts up. And overall, the quality of the materials used is really good. Of course, this is a Porsche. This all is soft touch material going all the way through the dash. And they decide to use this instead of piano black. And overall, it looks amazing, but right over here, it does get quite scratched up after 70,000 miles. So if they would have just put a little bit of carbon fiber over here, this would have been amazing. The quality is amazing. We do have this full metal door handles as well. We do get the same soft touch material going all the way throughout. So we don't get how some vehicles have soft touch material on the top and then hard plastic at the bottom. Unfortunately, this steering wheel is not leather wrapped. Instead, it is in some type of synthetic. And then one thing I really don't like about Porsches is, especially the old ones like the one I have right now, we really don't have any controls going on the steering wheel. Instead, everything is on these handles on the side, and it can be quite confusing when you're driving the vehicle and then also adjusting the stuff. For example, your cruise control and stuff. We do have our headlight controls on the side, and then we do get this instrument cluster. I really do like the analog gauges, to be honest, because this isn't a sportier vehicle, so it feels amazing to actually have a really good physical RPM gauge. However, in order to adjust the driver display on the side over here, we have no buttons over here, so we have to use this thing right over here. It's actually quite weird to going all through. And it can also show the navigation as well. It's not the best quality, of course, this is 2016, but it's still quite decent for a vehicle that is more focused, a little bit more of the driving instead of the technology inside, because everything is focused more of the driving characteristics of the vehicle. We also have our time right over here, which can also act as a stopwatch as well. And then we do have full metal paddle shifters right over here. And then as I was talking about everything going up on the controls, here we have the cruise control. And as you can see, it's really hard to actually use this. So there you go, we did get the cruise control, but then once we're driving, then we have to set it using this. So it's actually really overcomplicated stuff. Usually, of course, this is a German vehicle. They do like to overcomplicate everything, and then like the same thing goes with adjusting the steering wheel. So like this is like a fully electric adjusted steering wheel, but instead of just putting like an easier switch right over here, they have the switch hidden under, actually under the steering wheel. And then like the stupid part about it is that like it like actually looks like that is like a manual control. So at first it does take time to actually get used to it and how it works. They could have just put it on the side right over here how other vehicles have it, but instead they have these weird knobs going on, so they didn't have room for that. So, and then moving on with the center dash over here, one thing I don't like is that Porsche is kind of using their old operating system. So we lack Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, while other vehicles in 2016 did have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We still do get a CD player, and it's actually quite hard to use. And we can also check the driving information and all that stuff. And however, I really do like the steering wheel. It does give it a nice look. And for manual, I just put it in here, and now I can just use the paddle shifters to change the gears. We do have heated and vented seats, and we have a dual climate control system, which they go right over here, and it actually looks quite cool. And we do have air suspension in the back, so I'm actually able to lift the vehicle if I want to. And we do have a lighter port right over here. And we have quite a small center console. And then overall, I really do like the embedding they have going on inside the seat. You do have a small sunroof, but unfortunately, this is actually manual control, and I wish it was power, because at the end of the day, this is still a luxury vehicle. And we have our controls for our dome lighting, and then as well as our parking sensors, and then to open the sunroof. We do have a soft opening and closing glove box. And including the driver, and then including the passenger seats, all of them are actually three-way memory seats as well. Okay guys, so starting with the second row seats of this Porsche Panamera, it's actually quite decent. I'm 6 feet. I still get a really good amount of legroom, a really good amount of headroom as well. We do get our very own ashtray, and then we still do get the same this same hard leather type of material going all the way through. Full metal door handles. And then the one thing I like about this vehicle actually has in the back, the passengers get their own HVAC controls for both passengers, that he can adjust everything on their own. They can adjust the temperature on both sides individually, and then as well as where the airflow is coming on both sides individually, which is actually amazing. We do have heated seats. Vented seats are available but not standard, and we are missing out on the vented seats in this current trim. We do have one cup holder over here, and then we have one more cup holder right over here, and then as well as a 12-volt lighter port. And in the center right over here, we actually get quite a decent armrest. However, it's not as soft as we get it in the front, but it's still decent, because most of the vehicles don't really offer individual HVAC controls for the rear passengers as we do get in this vehicle. And then even the new Porsche Taycan I review, we're missing out on the rear HVAC controls. So this is amazing. And just like the front, we still do get the Porsche logos embedded in the headrest. Okay guys, so starting with the rear trunk, we do get a really ample amount of storage. Compartments on the side right over here, and then we also get access to the air compressor in case you guys get a flat, and then also as well as a sealant solution which can be pumped into the tire instead of getting a full-size spare tire. And then also the other thing I like though is this being the hatchback, we're actually able to fold the second row seats like this, so it does give you storage all the way through. This is amazing. So when this like vehicle first came out in 2016, the sticker price on it was 80K, but like right now, after 8 years, this vehicle with 70K miles on it is actually on sale for $27,000. So if you are interested, please do check out Commerce of Chevrolet. They have this vehicle in stock, as well as the Porsche Taycan and like many other vehicles. I will leave their information down below. Thank you, and please do subscribe and like.